Greetings everyone and welcome back to Pony Panels. My old Turtle Beaches are now dead, so rip 'em. But enough about that. We're gonna talk about Friends Forever number 34. Reuniting one of our favorite couples from Pinkie Pie and Cheese Sandwich. Unfortunately, not with the Weird Al Yankovic connection, although this episode of the comics could have been an actual episode, in my opinion. But it deals with a couple of things previously brought up in the series through the episode Thanks for the Memories, mainly grief, death, and moving on. Through the comics story about a house, kind of possessed, monster house style, that likes to party. And likes to party a lot. A little too much. Pinkie Pie is sent in for a child's birthday party when she stumbles upon Cheese Sandwich also trying to help keep the party going. But the house won't let them leave, which leads to them combined with the kids to try to find a way out. But that's not the major D of the plot. The major D of the plot is actually in flashbacks of the memories of the many ponies, a generational family that used to live in the house, and the many celebrations, graduations, weddings, people having falls, life stuff that the house has experienced. And due to the effect of a magic spell, the house itself is alive and has emotions. And one of those emotions is grief, and it's heavy. And because the house has been unoccupied for many years, the house feels lonely and grieving. But there's a real life symptom for this. Many parents suffer from what is known as empty nest syndrome. This is when all the kids in a respective family have moved out of a respective house, and some parents have trouble emotionally dealing, often falling into depressionist symptoms or some sort of inability to leave the home. And the home itself is expressing these feelings of grief, sorrow, and emptiness now that its family is gone. Much in the way that Rainbow Dash was suffering a few of them in Thanks for the Memories. But thanks to a very clever deal made, the house is given the ability to go spread its own kind of positive cheer to other families, as long as it realizes that parties, like life, eventually end and we have to move on. The grim undertonings of death and the inability to move on from a loss of a family member, and the memories that often stay in a house. After all, there's a difference symbolically of the house to a home, that homes are often lived in. They often have tons of memories, and this comic also reflects on the old saying, if the walls could talk. Granted, the house doesn't actually talk, but through the myriad of flashbacks, you can tell this is the motif that they're clearly going for. That the memories made in a home make a home feel lived in, and that there's a difference between a party and a celebration. And oftentimes in matters of death or loss, it's time to celebrate the importance of life not mourning the death and having a celebration. That's oftentimes how funerals are expressed, which gives this comic a kind of morbid, melancholy undertone. But thanks to the upbeat optimism of Cheese Sandwich and Pinkie Pie, the comic succeeds, although in most lines the moral can be muddled at times, and there are a few cheeky references as always, like in the comics, and both characters are expressed very well, but it's most notably the drawing animation. It's very striking and very big, with heavy use on color and shading and proper shadow for the flashbacks. It's a beautifully drawn comic, and one that should be praised. And even the jokes that end up falling flat end up having meaning for the story, meaning this comic is fully fleshed out. That's why I give Friends Forever 34 a proper score of a 5 out of 6. The morals about moving on, the difference between parties and celebrating, and the undertoned meanings of grief and death and loneliness that permeate this comic, but also the importance and impact of memories on a lifelong lived and those that have to live with them being gone is beautifully illustrated and told. It's a surprisingly heartwarming comic. For two characters, that heartwarming isn't the first word that comes to mind. Till next time, find peace in your own nirvana, and thanks for watching.